If you will. November 8th, 1982. This is Joe Todd. Interview with Mrs. Elsie Davison. Mrs. Davison, when's your birthday?
March the 11th,
And what year?
1900.
And where were you born?
Well, where was I born? Not very far from here. It's between Reno and Okarche.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about 30 miles west of here,
What kind of house did your parents live in?
in a little shack.
What did your father do?
My father was a contractor, building contractor, carpenter, and all of his children followed suit. So they're all contractors.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 3 boys and 1 girl, and they all took up the trade.
Okay. What are your earliest recollections of your childhood near Okarche?
Well, I suppose it was we 3 girls were born, and then they had their child, and a boy, and he died. And I don't remember much about that child, except that there's broken hearts, and I faced that with my family. That's about as much as I remember about little Everett. His name was Everett, E-V-E-R-E-T-T.
You know what year that was?
No, I'm sorry, I don't. Maybe it was 96.
That's fine.
Mhm. It probably was about that time.
As a little girl, what games did you play?
Oh, hopscotch. And rode horseback. And I did everything a boy did.
Mm-hmm.
More too, I guess.
What kind of games did you play with your brothers?
Well, the same thing.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have any dolls?
Dolls?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I had corncob dolls that I made myself. And I just enjoyed being a little girl. But my family, well, after my sister died, she married a minister. And he was so interested in my father's life that he wanted to write the story of my dad's life. And because my dad was raised in an orphan's home, his father lost his life in the Civil War.
He did?
And his mother died from grief and heartbreak. And that left him an orphan. And the relatives put him in this orphan's home. And now when this preacher got into the family, he was so interested in my dad's life that he wanted to write the story. And you know what he named that story?
No.
It was Sam Smith's Half Dozen. There was 4 of us, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And so they named the story, and they wrote the story, and they had all of the children and grandchildren write something that they remembered about my dad, so they could put it in the story. Well, of course, after they had written up the story, I thought, well, I know the story, why should I read it? But I wondered what on earth I had given them for to remember me by. And so I told them, I said, well, think I remembered was my dad on Sunday morning giving us kids all a lecture about being quiet. And when we line up in the driveway and be real quiet, if we didn't, one of the horses would balk and we'd be either have to walk to church or stay at home. So that's what he put in. And it wasn't a very nice thing, but anyway, that's what my story was. And all the rest of the kids had something funny to add to it. One of my niece wrote that what she liked most was sitting on the ice cream freezer. When my dad twisted the ice cream freezer, froze the ice cream, and so she could hold that down. And that was her business. And this went from one silly thing like that after another. But we had a lot of fun with that story. It's here.
Do you have a copy of it?
Yes. Do you want to see it?
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to.
Let's see, where is it? I believe it's in a box under the bed, under here.
We can look at it later.
Okay.
Before I leave, I'll look at it.
Okay.
You say your father was a contractor?
Uh-huh.
What was his name?
Sam Smith,
And where was he from?
Illinois.
Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
What was your mother's maiden name?
Her name was Carrie Beecham,
And where was she from?
right here in this county.
Okay.
And the Beechams, now there's a Beecham cemetery here. That's part of the story. Grandfather's, one of their children died with diphtheria. And it was 9 miles from any undertaker or anybody to help with the grave or arrangements or anything. And they didn't have any experience with it themselves. So he then donated a portion of his farm that he had received during the run. He gave a square of land in the corner of it, and that's the cemetery. It still is a cemetery. It's a nice cemetery now. At first it was just anybody could use it that wanted to. He made them welcome, but it wasn't the best. But now it has been fenced and taken well care of.
Where is the cemetery? The Beecham Cemetery?
Yeah. I don't know. It's on this road out here.
At Northwest Highway?
Uh-huh.
You were on Council Road and Northwest Highway? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And that's where it is. It's kind of an important place now because so many people have used it and love it. They just love it.
You say your father made the run of '89?
Mm-hmm.
Did he tell you about the run?
Oh, yes. Now, I'm not sure about the date. What date is that?
It's April 22nd, 1889.
89.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I'm off there. And you better correct that because I didn't have it just exactly right, and I knew I didn't. But anyway, that's when they had the line started on Highway 81, and it reached us from Kansas clear down into Texas, to Dallas or someplace down there. Which is clear through, and that was the dividing line. And they had soldiers stationed every mile, but every so often to give the signal at a certain time o'clock, and they would all shoot it off at once. And when they gave that signal, then the line would start to move out. And Mom, although she was a child then, she said she could just see that whole big line that looked like a whole mountain, a road was moving out. But she said it soon began to scatter, and people began to fight over. Well, and I guess there was a lot of people quarreled over different, when they staked their claim. Some people claimed they were there first, and you know how that goes. And so that's where I was born, on that claim. And I was born about a mile from the starting line of the Pantry Depot. Went clear out into the county, way out, you know, in the sandhill, to get their land because they lost. Well, they couldn't keep up with the gang. And so I guess that's about all that there was. But my dad and my grandfather was made wagon master when they left in Illinois. They organized a whole big group to leave. Why, when they selected a wagon master, they selected my granddad. And he was a nice guy and a happy guy. And it was important. He had good management and everything. So he was the wagon master. And he was boss. And they had made rules about when they was to retire at night. They weren't to work on Sunday. They were, well, I've forgotten some of their rules, but anyway, they all had to share about food because they were out there in the wilderness. They weren't near any food, and they were driving their cattle through. So whenever meat would run out, they'd slaughter a young calf and divide it with all of them. And they had this, the way that they cooked this meat was they'd dig a trench and build a fire in there and get the coals and things real red and hot. And then they'd put the meat in there and cover it up well, and then pile dirt on it. So there was no escaping the juices or whatever. And that's the way they cooked. And their bread mostly was corn pone, they called it. I don't know what the corn pone is, but I guess it's cornbread, isn't it?
Something like that.
And pancakes and things like that. And the people got along nicely, but my mother, she was a kid, and she took her shoes off one night and in front of the fire, and it was cold. It was in April, and it was very cold that spring. And she sat there and listened to the stories and to everything that went on. Pretty soon it got time to go to bed, and she did. But she left her shoes right there. Well, in the night, the fire flared up, and the heat of it got to those shoes and just drew them up in real hard knots. So she couldn't walk with the kids anymore. She had to ride on the wagon with the group, and those kids had to walk, except she didn't have to walk because she's up there with those kids. And oh, they just got so they hated her because she was having the rides and they were having to walk all the way to Oklahoma. And so she, well, they kidded her a lot. But one day they looked up, and way in the distance, the wind was blowing and the dust was sky high, clouded dust, they could see it. And these kids said that they heard the wind talking and that the soldiers from Fort Reno. See, then Fort Reno was coming close to the soldiers from Fort Reno were coming after my dad, or their dad, my dad, my father. And so Mama, they claimed that Mama was the cause that they couldn't take my dad to jail. And they just had that little thing worried to death. Oh, she was worried. And they kept coming closer and closer. And finally, they got up to him and she hung on to my dad. And she just wouldn't let him out of her sight. And she just hung on to his coattail every place he went. He couldn't understand what was the matter with her. But she was thinking they was coming after her dad. And so anyway, that worked out somehow. I forgot how. And that was one of the exciting things that happened. And
Did your father work at Fort Reno?
he might have some, but he was a house builder, a store builder, a schoolhouse builder. He built, you just can't imagine how much, many of the buildings that he put up there in El Reno that I could go by, just one, Daddy built that, Daddy built this, Daddy built this. We were very proud of my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you remember, let me see, you were born in 1900?
I was thinking I was, but I must have been 1901.
1901. Okay. You said that you made your own dolls.
Corn jobs dressed in their chefs.
Do you remember Statehood Day?
No.
November
No.
16th,
No,
1970?
I don't remember it. I know that I remember the excitement of it, but I don't remember anything about it.
Yeah.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
I have pictures here of the book. I didn't write this book, but Diane Beecham, the Beechams wrote it. My grandfather's family wrote the book. Diane was my grandmother. And she wanted to be a missionary against her folks' will. That all happened back in the jail. And yeah, now maybe there's some pictures here. Those are some of the things that I thought.
Yeah, this is nice. Did you raise any crops on your place?
Oh yes, my dad was he raised wheat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he had cattle and horses. He broke up a lot of land there, and a certain amount of pasture they had left, and then right around the edge of it, they had fields of wheat and corn and cotton. And they had all those things, and the kids worked some in that, I guess. I don't think we worked very hard, but we did work.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember any of the soldiers going off with General Pershing try to find Pancho Villa?
No.
1916?
No, I don't remember that either.
What did you do during World War I? 1917, 1918?
Well, no, I was a pretty big kid then, and I was still in school, in high school then. And what did I do then?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just stayed at home. Helped my folks.
Did you ever go into Oklahoma City and help, like at the train station when they brought the troops through?
Oh, yes, we used to go down and have cold drinks for the soldiers and hand it up to the, when the training stopped. And do all kinds of things. We loved to do that, of course. We just thought that was more fun than
So you handed like soft drinks to the soldiers. Did the soldiers get off the trains?
that. No, I don't think they were allowed off, but they'd reach out to us in the windows. Now, maybe they did get out. I don't know about that. I just wasn't sure.
Would you prepare food for them?
Oh, yeah, we have sandwiches and stuff.
How's your brother today?
We just thought the whole boys were angels, so they was fighting for our lives. We thought.
What about the flu epidemic of 1918?
Oh, that was crazy. That was, so many lives were lost
Yeah.
during that flu epidemic.
Where did you live during this time?
I lived right out there for that cemetery.
Yeah.
So I could have been buried real easy if I had died.
You know how many people died around here from that epidemic?
No, I have no idea. But I know there's a lot of them.
Remember any of the big floods around here?
Well, not especially where I live, but on the North Canadian River, golly, we had big floods. The whole valley would be in water. And that was alarming. It was hard for my family to get to a store or a town or someplace if we needed or if the doctor needed to come out or anything like that. And one time, well, the neighbors would carry their cream to the creamery, you know. And one neighbor would pick up everybody's cream and take it to the creamery one day, and then the next day another neighbor would pick it up and take it. Always the same people, but not the same ones doing it, you know. And exchange times like that. And they had one time it flooded, North Canadian flooded, and my dad was on one side and my mother with her two little girls, that was my sister and me, on the other side, and he couldn't get to them, and he knew how worried my mother was, because she was scared to death of storms. And he started across anyway with the team and wagon. Those cans were empty going back, so they all floated out down the river. And that was kind of a tragedy. I know Mother has told about how frightened she was during that siege when she and the two little girls lived out there on the farm alone.
How deep was the water when it would flood in the Canadian?
Oh, it just float things away. I know my grandfather's byword was, think all you can, do the best you can, act the best you can. And so much like that stuff. And when you're in doubt, use some horse sense. And I've ended up to use some horse sense. Well, one time the horse that had a new coat, it was following the crowd across, and the water was washing the coat down the river. So the mother followed the coat. And they said, well, the horse, they'd never see it again. And darkness came on, and they never saw it anymore until the next morning when they looked out, and there was that horse with this little coat standing on a raised piece of land up on the edge. And it was standing so it was protecting the coat from being washed away. It was using horse sense. And so Mama said when they were everything got straightened out, why, he asked them, he said, now, did you folks learn anything about this experience? And they all spoke up, the boys all spoke up and said, yes, use horse sense. So that's one thing that my folks said that to us so much, that use horse sense.
What about fires?
Well, there's been tragic lightning struck homes, and there've been fires there, but I can't remember anything very dramatic about them, except some of them lost their homes, and my uncle lost his home, just burned to the ground. I forgot how it caught. Seems that they were milking cows, and they looked up and their house was on fire, and they hurried to try to save something. Just to really, that's as much as I remember them.
What about tornadoes?
Oh, don't talk about them. My mother was so afraid of tornadoes. And the minute it would start storming into the cellar, we'd all die down in the cellar. And my dad was afraid of tornadoes too. And there was lots of them those days.
What kind of dresses did you wear as a child?
Well, I guess they were colorful. God. Yeah. Mama always tried to have us a pretty dress to wear to church. Us girls would wear pretty dresses to church. And we'd be in programs and things. Foolish little programs, but we thought they were great. And she made them for us. She trimmed them in tucks and laces till you wouldn't believe it. And the baby dresses, there was always a new baby in that family. I think there was 9 or 10 children there before it was all over. And there was little tiny tucks all the way down, you know, and lace and ruffles and everything. Tried to be just so. And I was thinking, after I talked to you, I was thinking about my mother at that time. It was a fashion that people wore Mary Widow hats, Mary Widow hats. And I remember just how Mama's Mary Widow hat looked. A straight little straw hat, with a little rim about that far around the crown, a little crown about that high up here, and then had great big cross roses up here. I could just see Mama yet in that hat. We thought that was the prettiest thing in the world, and she'd wear that hat to church or to town or whatever. And but as far as her clothes, I think the women all wore corsets. I guess you know what corsets were. I think that they all wore those. And low heel shoes, I never thought that they had.
We talked about the games, and you said you played hopscotch and you rode horses. And ever heard of a game called Run Sheep Run?
Oh yeah.
What is that?
Well, how did we do that? Somebody would hold their eyes. And we'd holler, run, sheep, run. And then we'd holler, stop. If they didn't stop, we got them still running, then they were it. They had to do that. As near as I can remember, that's what they did. And we played ball, black man, stuff like that.
Black man. What's
Well, if you all line up and somebody was it, and I don't know how he'd start them off. The kids, a bunch in here and a bunch in here. But as many as we could touch, they'd gone on our side.
Okay. You have any toys besides dolls that you played with?
Oh yeah, we always had a little red wagon and a baby carriage and that stuff. My dad was a great hand to fix these little wheelbarrows, and we didn't take very good care of them. I remember that. He'd scold us about it, but
Mm-hmm. You said you're born in a You said you're born in a shack, just a small house, or what?
just one room.
One room.
Well, that's what they tell me. See, I was too
Yeah, right.
little. No.
What kind of stove did your mother cook on in that house?
Oh, well, just a cook stove that she'd burn chips and wood. My dad would chop wood, and she'd cook with the heat from the wood still burning, and it was hard to keep the temperatures always equal. But mother made good bread and good cakes and good pies and things. I remember. And we had straw ticks to sleep on.
Yeah.
So a great big thing. We'd take them to the straw stacks and fill them with fresh straw every spring. Nice fresh straw, and it'd be so soft to sleep on.
Did you ever see a flapper in the 20s?
Mm-hmm.
What did they look like? What does a flapper look like?
Well, she's just a cute girl, all I can tell.
What kind of hairstyle did she have?
Well, I think mostly braids and bows. Oh, I tell you, we love pretty ribbons. We love pretty ribbons. And in the story that my brother-in-law wrote about, how was that? My sister said she always looked forward to Christmas time. So Elsie, that was me, would always buy her a pretty ribbon to wear in the program. And so I'm glad that I did that for her. I wasn't always too good to her.
Mm-hmm.
But
How short were your dresses in the 20s?
they down to our ankles.
You didn't wear dresses like a flapper did then?
No, a flapper wore short dresses.
Yeah.
And we showed her knees.
What?
I'm showing here.
Yes. Where does the word flapper come from?
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a funny, foolish name.
Yes. And you say your father built a lot of buildings in El Reno?
Oh yeah, there's lots of them. And in the country too, country homes, and he had lots of good machinery, good tools. He had very best tools. And he was, he was a great carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
And the boys are too. I'll tell you, Jim, the middle boy, is married now. And one day he came home from church and he said, Mama, he said, did you know that my dad was a carpenter just like Jesus' dad was? And I said, yes, honey, I knew that. And I said, that makes you important. So after that, he told everybody, they'd say, Jim, you look cute today. He'd say, I'm important. We had a great time breaking him with that because it didn't sound very good. And they were all cute kids. My children were very cute and did some of the funniest things in school which you can ever imagine. One time, Dwayne, the oldest one, he first one went to school. And he goes down to school and he saw these light switches all along the wall. He studied and looked at those, and finally he decided he'd go and plug those in, which he did. And why, he dismissed the whole school. It was a big school, you know, quite a lot of kids there. And the teachers were so upset they just didn't know what on earth to do. And so they called me, and I lived just a block from the school. So I hurried down there to see what the matter was. And when I got down there those kids were milling around and all excited. And the teachers couldn't get them settled down. And I said, well, Jim, I said, why didn't you take Joe's little hand and lead him back home? He said, you knew you didn't have any business down here. And he said, well, because I didn't want anybody to know that I knew him. His face is dirty. And then they said so many cute things that way that I tried to remember.
Yes. Do you remember how your father built these buildings in El Reno? Were they wood, brick, or stone?
Well, most of them were lumber, you know. Of course, he had lots of brick too, and he had lots of basements and things like that of concrete.
Okay. Remember the Dust Bowl?
Yes.
What was the dust storm like?
Oh, you just couldn't breathe. Everybody had the asthma.
How'd you try to keep the dust out of your house?
Well, we kept the house shut up so we couldn't stand the heat in there, and then we'd open it up and let the dust blow in a while, and then we'd shut it out again. It was about the best I can describe it.
What did your father do during this period? In the early 30s?
Well, he was building. That was all he ever knew.
In El Reno?
Mm-hmm.
So did the Depression affect him much at all?
Yes, it did. It put a lot of farmers. It was a depressed.
Yeah.
But
When did you meet your husband?
when did I meet Jack? Oh, I was a school teacher then. I was taught in a country school, and I don't know how I come to meet him.
Yeah.
But I know I sure thought he was pretty nice when I did meet him, and we were friends for quite a while before we married. And he had always had a bunch of poor relatives hanging on to him.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a problem to him.
What did your husband do as what kind of job did he work at?
Well, he had to lay out all the lumber and lay it all out and see that it was fitted and done well, so near as I can tell.
During World War II, what did you do?
Well, I was still a school teacher.
Mm-hmm. Did you take part in any war effort?
Oh, just things like women would organize sewing societies and things, and we just sew, knit, and crochet for the soldiers, which we did willingly. Boy, we just nearly broke our fingers doing that because we had all those boys to like us, I guess. I don't know why else I did it.
Do you know did you meet any famous people or infamous people in your early days?
Did I? Oh, I knew a few. Now, Mr. Barrett, I knew him.
That Charles?
I always thought that he was a great guy. He helped. I mean, he was a great leader in the neighborhood, in the church, and in the schools, and anything public. He was there doing the best he could. I would say Mr. Barrett, about the only one. Yeah. And some of them thought they were awful important,
Yeah.
but weren't.
Did you know the Oberholzers in Oklahoma City?
No, I didn't know them, but they're the ones that were responsible for the Oberholzer Lake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about David L. Payne? Did you know him?
No, I imagine my father did. I don't know. They didn't have any though, does it? Because
Okay.
see, there's El Reno and there's Fort Reno, and then there's Darlington, and there's Cantonment,
Yeah, Canton. Yeah.
and there was the Indians, of course. Now this woman here, Mrs. Meshberger, there's lots of German people there too, and she wanted to be a missionary among the Indians. And there's a whole bunch of German people. And well, she was a good woman. She and her husband too. She married a German. And that's a very interesting book if you really want to read it.
Did your father or your mother ever tell you any stories about the Civil War, about your grandfather? What did he do in the Civil War?
Well, he was quite young during the Civil War, but his father got badly hurt. That's what I told you. And the Southern people tried to destroy things that belonged to Northern people, and the Northern people tried to destroy the Southern people's ranch. You know, it's just plain old war. That's what it was.
Oh, you say you don't remember Statehood Day?
Not enough to discuss it on my own. I could tell you things Mama's told about it, but I don't think.
Oh. You write poetry, correct?
Oh, it's not real good stuff.
How long have you been writing?
All my life I like to do that. My dad liked to do that too, so that came natural.
Here's a book of short stories by Elsie Davison. When did you write this?
Of course, before I ever met my husband. they lived right across the street from us, so I felt it was there.
Mm-hmm. There's a Christmas poem here. I would, if you would.
I just love to do things like that, so you'll have to excuse me, they're corny as can be.
Would you like to read that for me?
Mm-hmm. Merry Christmas to us old mothers who have come here to stay. It is good to be pampered and not feel in the way. We are living in a proud mansion perched on a hill. I believe this was my life's plan and part of God's will. How I love my dear children and joined in their fun. How I often recall them in memories their lives just begun. They were witty and pretty and oh, such a joy. I cuddled them and praised God for one girl and 3 times a boy. Many Christmases have passed, 80 plus 2. They have been so meaningful to me all the way through. Sometimes my heart broke when a little one was taken up to the home up above. But God knows what is best and healed the hurts with His love. Yes, I am poor and old and gray. I try to walk tall and think sensible words to say. I don't try to be dressed in the latest style. I stumble and fall once in a while. But there's always a dear old nurse to bring me back to health. I can think of no better kind of wealth. I wake up in the morning to the chirping of birds, to the happy good mornings that so often are heard. I love the change of seasons, the patter of rain, the thunder and lightning. I have nothing more to gain. I'm proud to be me in spite of my age. I'm proud that God's grace and pain can assuage. Another Christmas is here, making 80 plus 3. But the beauty of Christmas will long outlast me.
Excellent.
I just love to do that.
What do you remember about your grandmother?
My grandmother died when I was just a little girl. I remember being at her funeral. And I remember sitting next to the casket so I could look right down in Grandma's face. And I remember the roses they put near her. And I don't remember anything about her casket, but I do remember they carried her casket to the cemetery on the lumber wagon. And it was not very far that they took it. And that was the first grave that was put there in that corner.
In the Beecham Cemetery?
In the Beecham Cemetery. And we love that little spot of ground because so many of our relatives are buried there. And then the thing that surprised you tonight to hear this, when after it was all over and we'd gotten used to her being gone, well, what does he do but up and marry the school teacher, Mrs. Barrett. That's who I was talking about, Mr. Barrett. Now that's Mrs. Barrett. And she was a lovely lady. I just loved her. And you know, yet I remember so many things she has told me when I was just a little girl. Like when the time of the earthquake out in California.
1906.
Yes, you see, I was 6 years old, and she got this letter from a friend of hers out there, and she read it to me. And this woman said, of course, there's always some joke made about something. And said, this is the joke. But said that someone remarked you couldn't even go by a cow lot with what you'd see. Nothing but cow tails sticking up out of the soil. And I thought that was the funniest thing. I just thought how funny it could be. And that's what I remember about the earthquake and about my grandmother.
Do you remember the Titanic?
Hello.
Oh yes,
Well, hi.
You say you remember the Titanic when it went down?
Sure. Sure.
What was your reaction to it?
Oh, I thought it was tragedy. I wished I'd have been there so I could have seen it all.
Oh.
Do you have any reflections on your childhood growing up in Pioneer, Oklahoma, that you would like to tell your grandkids?
I think that if, at my age now, if I reflect on that, I think the thing that I'd impress them with the most was that I had such Christian father and mother that taught us along the way we had to behave ourselves or else. And I think that I appreciate that more than anything.
Do you have any more poetry that you'd read for us?
I don't think it's good enough.
Oh, that's excellent. That's very good. You say that story on Sam Smith's Half Dozen is Under Your Bed?
Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can find it. I just don't have enough room here.
Do you want me to get it out?
Well, maybe I could do it better. Probably no more how to handle it. Really?
Well, that's okay. No, that's
Up there, it's up there. There's a flat one up there. I think you could get it out easy.
Yeah. I'd like to hear some more of your poetry, though.
Well, I just have to look it up and I don't know where to find it anymore.
Would it be in this box?
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Ready.
One Smith family in 1,000?
This is crazy. He's a minister that he's both on. There's many of us to write things, you know.
Was Everett born after you were?
Yes. He was born soon after I was.
soon. They purchased the Edward Horry Farm May 31st, 1898. Elsie was born March 11th, 1899. This is excellent.
You can read that if you want to. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not important.
Mm-hmm. What I would like... Oh, is this some of your poetry?
No, that belongs to some of the other girls in the family.
If you'll let me, I'll sign a receipt for this and take it to the museum and make a copy of it. If you would.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then I'm going to come back tomorrow. I'll bring it back tomorrow.
Okay. That's some of the niece's marriages. There's so many others.
Yeah.
It belongs in that big envelope.
This envelope? Okay. When is your next remotivation meeting? Every other Tuesday. Is it tomorrow or a week from tomorrow?
It's a week from tomorrow, I think.
A week from tomorrow. So you had one last week. Well, any other comments? Any stories you'd like to tell?
No, I appreciate the interest you showed.
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. And
I wish I could explain it better about when they raced for land, how they...
oh, the land run?
But I did best I could on that because I wasn't there after all.
What I'll do. Here is, if you can sign this, this is a release that just says that we can use this for historical purposes of the museum.
Okay.
And then I'll leave this one for you, and it's just a little biographical data about you. You can fill it out, you know, about your parents, where you were born and everything, and if you would.
You want me to sign?
Yeah, just right here.
Oh, my hand is so stiff. Jerked. My hand jerked.
And then I'll leave this one with you, and then in your leisure, if you think of something, you know, like the land run or whatever.
Yeah, I might think of something really important. Because Mama used to entertain us kids a lot with these stories, and Papa did too.
Also, I'm going to make a copy of this, and then I'm going to bring this back to Miss Hickok tomorrow.
Yeah, you're welcome to use that, whatever you want.
Okay, if there's no other comments, I'll go ahead and...
I just enjoyed you very much. It's nice to meet somebody like you.
Well, it's a pleasure meeting you too. And I'll be back here tomorrow morning. I'm going to interview Dr. Maxwell and Mrs. Dean, their brother and sister. I'm going to interview them. And then I'll be here all day tomorrow. And if you're nice, I'd like to have lunch with you tomorrow.
Well, I just don't know what's been planned for me.
Yeah.
But And I
I'll
think I'd
check.
enjoy that a lot.
I'll check with Mrs. Hickok tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you married?
No, ma'am? But you're a joy to talk to.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it.
If I may ask, how long have you been in here in the Baptist home?
I believe I've been here 3 years. I was over at Superbia at first. You know, that's the one on the hill there. I was there quite a while. And that's when my mother and father both died, when I was up there. That did something to me that shouldn't have been done. But they died, and the doctors thought that I needed somebody to administer medicine to me when I needed it. Be up there. I just took medicine when I thought I needed. And it just worked out that way, and I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, how many children do you have?
I had the 4. I had the 3 boys and 1 girl.
And how many grandkids do you have?
Six.
6.
Mm-hmm.
They all live in this area?
No, they don't. Andrea, where is Andrea? They don't. Andrea, where is Andrea? She's the one in the frame back here.
Okay, I see her, yes.
She's in Michigan now. She works for the borough's computer outfit. And they sell those computers to these companies, and then they have to send one of their students out to teach them how to use them.
Yep.
And that's what she does.
Oh.
And she has a very good job. I don't know how much she gets, so won't tell me, but I understand it's a good job. And I'm proud of her. And she has a little brother. See, her father died the day she was born.
Yeah.
Little Andrea, his father did. And my husband and I, we just thought we couldn't take it, but we did. But this book is just so much a part of my life.
Diane takes to the Indians.
She tells about her life with the Indians. Not that I had much to do with the Indians, and yet I did too, in a way.
Oh, did you have contact with the Indians here?
Not much, but my mother and she knew the Indians by heart.
Oh, did she tell you any stories about the Indians?
Yeah, she had plenty. They didn't care for the Indians, but Mrs. Meshberger did. She loved them. She wanted to be a missionary, and she turned out to be a missionary with the Indians. And I guess that she did a wonderful job.
Yeah. So your mother didn't like the Indians too well?
Well, there's something about them, you know, they're just not like white people,
Yeah.
they just don't,
You ever go to Fort Reno?
yeah, most of them.
What was it like, Fort Reno?
Well, it wasn't much of anything when I used to go there. I passed my time, but I've been there a long time.
Okay, well, I'm going to come back in the morning, and I'll come in. I'll bring your book back.
Okay.
I
I
appreciate it
invite
very much.
you very much, very much.
Oh,
And be sure and have a good life.
Yeah, tell us about the food they ate on the wagon train.
Well, you know, there's a lot of weeds that are foods, and they'd eat meat and stuff that they killed. But they also gathered greens. They eat greens, you know.
What kind of greens?
Well, they call it lamb's quarter greens. And there's something else, and I can't think of some kind of cabbage. But it was a wild weed.
Yeah.
And there was onions too, but I just can't remember what kind of onions it was that they'd pick. But the kids would pick that stuff.
Be wild onions?
Yes, but I don't think that's what it was called. It was wild onions, I guess is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd pick berries along the way, and they managed real good as far as food was concerned.
This was on the wagon train when
When they were coming from Missouri to Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother was little then, but she remembers.
About when was that? Do you know?
No, I don't know how much older Mama is than I am. About 20 years before I was born. I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just a thought that came to me. They did eat.
Mm-hmm.
They were great hands for, my mother still was a great hand for cornmeal, mush, and milk.
Mm-hmm.
And they had plenty of that. So that's about all I had. I'm sorry I even mentioned it.
Oh, how large was your garden at the farm?
Well, I don't know. They used a team to work it with. So it must have been kind of big.
Did
They had big potato patches, great big potato patches. And I guess that was the biggest thing they had. And sweet corn. It was a great hand to raise sweet corn. And tomatoes.
Did you raise popcorn?
Yes, they did, but I don't remember much about the popcorn except that when we'd pop the corn and some would pop out on the floor, Mom would always tell us, if you let it fall on the floor, you have to eat it with your mouth. And we did. We were dumb enough to.
Whenever it was raining outside, what would you do inside for entertainment? How would you entertain yourself?
Well, I really don't remember. I guess we just helped my mother. I just don't know. Help with the housekeeping work.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have any little games you played inside, or?
Well, we played. I remember the agents used to come through. And if they see some woman was putting out her laundry, they'd stop and ask them if they'd wash a shirt or two for them, you know, and that they'd give them something off of their. They did those things. I remember that. I don't guess I have anything else that I remember right now.